RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rational Investors Daily Brief public show. This is Thursday. Usually Thursday I am away, but Julian is indisposed, and he asked if I could fill in for him today. So my apologies if any of you are looking for Julian. I think he said he'll try and come on and do the show tomorrow. But you might just have a big old dose of the Beamish here this week. It is a very funny sort of holiday type environment right now. The amount of FU moves in the markets here today was quite palatable. They're all over the place, up and down. I took an opening range trade this morning, got stopped out for a full loss. So shut everything down right after that. And we've just been sim trading and having fun just commenting on all the FU moves all over the place. This being our free show, try and maybe just keep this to like 15-20 minutes tops. But as I said, going through sort of the holiday sort of environment right now, you can definitely tell the participation now that the Europeans are done. Participation in the market's a bit splotchy here. So probably calendar wise, some things that we should note. First and foremost, yesterday was your official last day to do any tax loss selling in the stock market. So commodities have same day settlement. I suppose technically crypto could have same day settlement, although nobody pays taxes in crypto, right? But anyway, point being, in the stock market, that's done. And now if you do actually do any transactions, they actually settle in the new year. So we might just find today and tomorrow are like almost like a vacuum sort of ahead of that New Year settlement. And if we look at the market itself, you can see lots of gyrations all over the place here. US dollar index jumping all over the place. I think we had talked about this the other day. We actually did come into the bot objective. If anything, hopefully all of you in the public who have been watching my videos and stuff, you are familiar with this bot. You know, we got lots of these bot trades on the long side working in crypto right now, but it's the exact same logic in the stock market or commodities markets. This was a really, really good illustration because prior to the FOMC meeting, the market put in this really wild, Darth Maul type candle here. And you can see where the bot set up. So in essence, this was just simply a trade. We lost the Darth Maul lows and the bot fires and away we go. So you can see we just banged into the profit objective of the bot on this US dollar index. So my hunch is that the selling's probably done. Yesterday, as I said, was the sort of tax deadline date. If anything, now we're in a bit of a vacuum right now, where anybody who actually buys this US dollar index, like I said, it settles in the new year. So I think probably people are kind of just humming and hawing about what's the next move here. And conversely, I think what ended up happening, because keep in mind, these banksters, they manipulate the market. And I think what they really wanted was they want the euro, they want the yen, and especially things like the China dollar. This thing, it was right on its knees there a week or so ago. Absolutely just decimated. And actually, that's not even the low. Same thing with the Aussie, Swiss franc. And I get the impression that what ended up happening here was they wanted a certain print for these currencies for the bank's balance sheets and stuff, year-end accounting. I mean, you've even heard Powell in just even the recent years past through that whole sickness fiasco and con job. Um, you even heard him say, "We just got to get through year end. We just got to get through year end. We just got to get through year end." And the irony of it all is, I don't even think the public even picked up on that. I barked about it a bit, but anyway, here I think is an excellent example that clearly somebody had an agenda. They wanted these indexes, especially the currencies, because they're really the banksters' currency, or no pun intended. But I think they had an agenda, and now that that's sort of been fulfilled, like I said, U.S. dollar index, that bearish bot came into some pretty significant historical levels, inverted head and shoulders pivot low, and also this pullback pivot low following this dump here. And it seemed to me that this was a pretty important level on the price charts, and sure enough, we're bouncing off of that. Does this make some sort of inverted head and shoulders? Just pure conjecture on my part. I have no idea. But we will see how this plays out over the next little while. I suppose if there was a couple econs, but nothing really earth shattering. We had initial jobless claims actually ticked up slightly, which ironically enough is what the Fed wants to try and sort of cool things down in the US economy. Retail inventories drawing down a little bit more than expectations, not huge numbers here though. Wholesale inventories drawing down a little bit, basically in line with expectations. And if anything, this is usually when you see inventories being drawn down, that actually means that the economy is a little bit weaker. They're not producing as much in the factories, and they're relying on whatever they've got in the inventories, in the warehouses to deliver to retailers. So that in itself should be a little bit of a negative for the economy. And again, remember, this is basically what the Fed wants, is they want to try and slow things down. Pending home sales, these are, year over year number, probably the biggest sort of mover here. You see down about 5%. Market was looking for 6%. So, we have the new home sales. Interestingly enough, that new home sales number just recently, it ticked down appreciably. So there is quite a bit of talk down in the U.S. market that the housing market has officially topped and rolled over. And I think I've said to you in recent shows and stuff, if you look at like commentary out of really weird places like Nashville, Tennessee, and Austin, Texas, and like some of the sort of backwater burgs of Florida. It used to always be a joke. I've got some swampland in Florida to sell you. Nobody ever talks about swampland in Florida anymore. Anyway, point being that a lot of those markets have really calmed down quite a bit. It's an absolute poop show what's going on in my country. And, if you want to trigger Brian, get him to start talking about substitute drama teachers and all that insanity. I honestly don't know how this Canadian story is going to play out. It's the absolute perfect scenario for a disaster. The country is headed in a very, very bad direction. I'm not quite sure why the oligarchs have decided this as our fate, but I've said repeatedly, Canada is a short and will be a short. Probably right through till about 2035, maybe even the latter part of the 2030s. And if I understand correctly, there's actually supposed to be a big asteroid that's supposed to have its first initial flyby in 29. And if it actually does fly by through in a very specific location, then it's almost a guarantee that in 2036, it should come around and smack right into Earth. So we might not even be around for when Canada is actually a buy again. Who knows? It might be just a big molten heap. Well, here, Canada's a buy now, if you want it. No humans on the planet anymore, but oh well. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I suppose. Thank you, Chris. Chris is trying to keep me on course here. Hopefully I'm doing a half decent job for you guys. Your econs, again, I'm kind of thinking that this holiday session, bit of a vacuum in the market. The econs out of the States, no train wrecks or anything. I don't see the Fed having to lower interest rates dramatically. In fact, I would even say that I hear a lot of sort of market chatter, and these people all saying, "Oh yeah, the Fed's guaranteed going to be lowering rates now," and all these, these dot plot things. They are the absolute worst possible thing that the Fed could do, in my opinion. It's ironic when you listen to all these bureaucrats; they say that actually it's the best thing that they could do. And the only Fed governor that I had any respect for in my entire career in the market was a gentleman by the name of Alan Greenspan. And we used to always joke that, and he even said publicly, if to a politician one day when he was speaking in front of the Congress, if you think that you actually understand what I'm trying to tell you, then I'm being way too clear. Some funny line like that. And really, I would agree with Alan. I mean, none of these idiots can predict the future. You know how brutally wrong they got that whole COVID sickness fiasco and literally hyperinflated our economy into the ground. And yet, every single one of them said, "Oh no, there's no way that." In fact, you hear Janet Yellen say, "Well, there'll never be another recession again." What are you nuts, you stupid idiot? I mean, I don't know how these people even have the authority to even say these stupid things without being held to account over it. So I don't think it's a good idea for any of us to get all wrapped up in the idea that the Fed's going to be lowering interest rates anytime soon. I think that the market, of course, ebb and flow, and we silly humans, we are emotional creatures, and so we emotionally react too far one way or the other. And I think that's basically what's going on here right now. People have absolutely convinced themselves that the US economy is going to collapse. And I've said repeatedly, I don't think the US economy's got anything to be concerned about. You know where the problems are in this world. And it starts with a China da and ends with a da da da, substitute drama teacher. And actually, if you actually listen to some of the data, and I think what we'll do in the after party is maybe go through some of our charts that we've looked at recently. I mean, the China story is just an absolute train wreck, and it's just getting worse and worse by the day. I've even heard that Russia has actually artificially cooked the books to the tune of something like $2 trillion. They have basically lied to the Russian populace about how bad the situation is in these countries. And that's the danger of totalitarian dictatorships. I mean, hell, we joke about how the over the counter market doesn't have any legal obligation to tell you the truth. What do you think, Vladimir Putin? Do you think he has any obligation whatsoever to tell the truth? Oh, God. No, I got a nice piece of Florida swampland to sell you if you do believe that. We'll finish off the rhetoric here today. Like I said, stock markets, ironically enough, when Chris and I were sort of humming and hawing in the futures pits this morning, the stock market's basically parked here. I don't really see it doing anything. And if we look at like the lower time frame chart, your 3-minute chart, you can see we're just sort of, this was the opening range trade. It was an ugly one. And it got stopped out sort of, I don't know, about an hour or two into it. And you can see the market is just parked. It's done absolutely nothing here. Did have a little bit of fun flipping crude oil contracts through the day. Picked up one off of the low end of the range. And if anything, here's a really good lesson for all of you on the FUs. What happens in typical holiday markets is, here was our opening range trade, and they just FU'd right in here. Then we had some humming and hawing back and forth. Then I had beautiful short here, took some off. Then we had the EIA, and what do? They come and FU these tops. I took a bit of profits here, but I was even joking before the EIA report came out. Yeah, maybe I should move my stop up here. And then the EIA report came out and I got blown out right up top. It was kind of a bit of an amateur trade, but nonetheless. I hopped back on the short, made a bit of money coming back down. Then the market absolutely collapsed, ironically enough, into my original profit objectives against this key low here. So I stepped back in on the long side, and you can see I'm up a couple bucks on this sim trade here. But the point is that this is such a great analogy of your holiday type trading environment. Where, I mean, how many times do you look how many FUs they pulled here? These were all FU moves here on the lower time frame, like the tick charts. That's an FU against that eye. That's an FU against that eye. That's an FU against. I mean, it was remarkable how many times they did it. So the point being, typical holiday type environment. It's really messy. And the stock market, ironically enough, isn't really doing anything today. It's just parked. And I have a feeling that's probably how they're going to end the session. And I would also argue too that, again, who's going to actually strap on a serious long position in the stock market right now with us just a couple days ahead of the new year, and with the tax law selling window over now. If anything, there's probably a bit of a vacuum in the market. Finish off with a quick boo at yield corn. Same old, same old. Nothing's really changed here. We popped up into this 2.618, 50% level of the entire all-time high range. That was like literally 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, like a month ago. And we've just been parked here for like a month. We've just done basically nothing on Bitcoin. Still think that the odds of us either heading up top and cleaning out these stops up top, Mountain Man 61.8. There's a Feigenbaum midpoint. We should have that as a reference. Very long standing trend line, previous peak trend line. I think that will act as significant resistance. And of course, a big fat round number up to 50 G's. If we puke out, some regulator or some bureaucrat or politician says something negative, and we have to come off, I could very easily see 50% of the previous the rally range since the pivot almost exactly 1 year ago here. 38.2s, trend line support, moving average support, etc. So, I've said this repeatedly. I'll say it again. This is a really shitty trade location. It's not really a really good place to short. It's not really a good place to buy. We're in kind of like no man's land right now. And the market's probably trying to try everybody's patience and try and get you to act emotionally out of frustration that nothing's happening. And so you're just going to force something to happen. And usually when you make those kind of decisions, they end badly. Right now, I would say there's nothing to do in Bitcoin if you're an investor. The traders, this is that what does a month-long consolidation look like? This looks like a big hurry up and go nowhere. So, those people that like to trading ranges, top end of the range, Mountain Man, good old Brian's favorite fib. Yeah, big M's here. We also had some momentum divergence, so it didn't surprise me. Price came off. We just tagged Mountain and then jackknifed our way back up here. I don't know whether that's really enough to call a bottom, but interesting. This basically is a bought objective, and or a bought entry level. Remember, I showed you the US dollar, it just hit its bought objective. This is a perfectly good example of a bought setup that's just working away. Well, here's a bought setup that actually is just sort of sitting there. And you could make the argument that you've gotten signals to get long off this level. So, if bot is in your trading plan and this is who you are, well, there you go. And, as we said earlier, 50,000, 51,000 and change is the bot target here. This would be assuming that this story ends positively. I don't really think it's a good idea for anybody to get into the business of predicting what's going to happen. But as a professional trader, if you trade the bot, well, you just have to take the trade. Kind of like with this, and this one, I even put a tweet out yesterday. And I think this is such a good example of sort of a trader's life. although a lot of people just don't want to accept this as a trader's life. Um, but I put a tweet out yesterday, sort of following up because I posted as all these setups started coming in here about a month or so ago, and I was kind of like, I don't see how Bitcoin can break down if these things are looking like this. And this is the SOL, isn't it? Cosmos, actually, so that's a different one. But SOL, it had a bot, and boom, it went just running right up into its bot objective. Here is that Chainlink original bot setup. And here is the update. Actually, no, that's not the update. Where is the update? There's the update. Basically, I just said, we're actually now just going out and taking out those highs from the first tweet. And I think this is a really, really good example. And this is what I said here, that, sometimes in trading, and this probably is a really good way to finish this video. Sometimes in trading, the most important thing for you to do is do absolutely nothing. And I think that, you've got multiple higher lows to protect your stops and your trade. And this thing's just working away. And really, there's just nothing to do here. Just got to let your money work for you. And I think that's actually not a bad commentary on sort of the risk market right now. It's not like we've really broken down per se, up and down like a horse drawers, as they say. But there's nothing really going on here right at present. And I know a lot of people want to push, they want to force the issue. And I would just simply say, just be patient. And if you have setups working, just let them work and do their thing. So there is probably a pretty good image of what the crypto landscape kind of looks like right now. We're not on the value part of the equation anymore, whether it be something like Chainlink and a whole bunch of these altcoins. They've all gone zooming up. Hopefully you're able to get in off the bottom here, little old lady style, that kind of thing, and you're banging out doubles and enjoying the market. Now we're in the phase of trend continuation, and this is more of like a trader's type environment, where if we do break down, you have to just basically say, look at, the setups are failing. I have to go into capital preservation mode and just hop off on the sidelines. And, this one, it actually is still, it hasn't had move stop to break even level hit yet. So it's still an open-ended risk here. We could very easily trade all the way back down here and still be in the trade. There are quite a few of these, though, that I have been posting to you guys that actually they've actually gotten to the point where they're starting to have things like this one, for example, according to the bot setup that we teach in our level 1 program, you actually are at the point where you can start locking in profits now on these trades. So, each of them are moving at their own sort of pace and cadence. But the long and short of it here is, hopefully you can see, here's your value trade. Here is your trend continuation trade. So we're not in the, hey, we're buying value, we're buying cheap, we're buying at the bottom end of the range. I would actually say that the risk right now, kind of like Bitcoin, we could very easily head up top. We could very easily crap out. It's like literally a throw of the dice, and anybody got a coin, we'll flip a coin and figure out who wins. How's it go? Heads I win, tails you lose, right? Something along those lines. If you're looking for things to buy, ironically enough, the little meme names that nobody's interested in right now because all the other names have all gone zooming up, they've come back down into buying windows. And I'm telling you, this thing looks like it's trying to bottom here. So interesting how these kind of names do really well when Bitcoin and the higher ups aren't doing very well. And of course, these things do rather poorly when Bitcoin, of course, is stealing the show. So maybe that's a bit of a tell as to what the market state is and what maybe we should be thinking about for expectations going forward. All right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Hopefully, Julian will be back for your free broadcast tomorrow. If he's still indisposed, you get another session of the Beamish. I don't think it's going to kill you. But let's hope, fingers crossed, Julian can be at his post for a baby powder report to end the week for you guys. All right, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no win nickels. Remember what your number one job is. All the best, and bye for now.